listen.
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Can't get enough baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
There's no human being on the planet that I would rather be talking to right now than baseball's and boring family member and now professional baseball player. First time in his life ever collected a check as a baseball player. Rich Hill. Yeah.
Rob, thanks for having me on. As always, reporting live from Norfolk, Virginia.
Things that you never thought you'd say 3 months ago.
Yeah, no, this is, beautiful day here in Norfolk. Unbelievable. The field is immaculate. I don't remember it being as nice as this back in the early 1900s, but it's impressive how nice they have this groomed. It's really nice.
When was the last time you pitched in a minor league game?
Minus the rehab start.
Yeah, I guess. Well, no. What was the last? Yeah, last time you pitched rehab start or whatever.
2015 with Pawtucket.
Oh man, yeah.
Former AAA affiliate of the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, they didn't even have the lawn wasn't even mowed back then in minor league parks. It's crazy.
They just throw a bunch of goats out there. Have them clean up the outfield, man.
All right.
They trim the infield. They trim it with a nice pair of hand shears.
That's right. They make the rookies do that. All right.
Yeah, we travel by candlelight. All right, enough.
All right, let's get to it. So first of all, from everybody here at our family, we want to congratulate you. We've talked about this process. And it's not done, but still, you're way down the road on it. This process and the goal and the execution of it. You did this. I mean, you've signed. I assumed you signed. You signed a contract with a major league team after, most importantly, guiding your son and your son's team, helping guide. I don't want to take anything away from the Milton coaches, but helping your team, being around your son for all those months. Like, it's worked out. Congratulations.
It's been great. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I think obviously to the coaches, from the summer and this past spring, this summer with Zach, Chris, and Pete, three other dads, and Zach Farkas was the head coach and just did a tremendous job with organizing and holding practices, running practices, organizational skills, A+, especially with having the kids' attention and being able to keep them engaged, focused, and enjoying, laughing, just having fun with this great game of baseball. It was a lot of fun this summer. So it was something that I'm extremely thankful for being able to have the opportunity, to be able to do that, and then B, come through and execute it and put in the time, effort, and work to get to this position where I'm at right now. And I think with that, my wife Caitlin and our son Bryce, being able to have their support and also see this come to fruition with the aspect of going for it, right? So it's this idea of, not an idea, but it's just the point that I look at it from when you fast forward maybe the book into a later chapter in your life, and you look back, and it's always going to be I wish I did that, or I wish I did this, or I shoulda, coulda, woulda. And that's one of the main goals behind this, and the driving factor behind getting to this point right now, because I do truly believe I have something to contribute. And like you said earlier on a few minutes ago, we're at this point a little bit later in this process, and it's going really well.
Well, listen, I mean, to think that it all started with a Spirit Airlines flight to Fort Myers in March. I mean,
That's right.
let's go.
Hey, extra leg room.
You got, I think, yeah, we paid for extra leg room. We did not pay for your water. So, but I do want to. So before we sort of get into the go through the timeline in the last couple of weeks, overall, what was the thing that maybe, as we sit here, in case people don't know, you've signed a minor league contract with the Red Sox, and you're in Norfolk, Virginia right now with the Worcester Red Sox, and you're going to pitch on Friday still? Friday?
Correct, Friday.
Friday. Okay.
2 or 3 innings. I think it's 2 or 3 innings on Friday.
Okay.
Scheduled, yes.
Okay. So all of this, the whole thing, what is the thing that
threw a live bullpen yesterday? Sorry.
Right, we're going to get to that. What the whole thing?
Okay.
What was the thing for you that you didn't expect? Like, you mapped this out back in whatever it was, January or February. What was the thing as we sit here that you didn't expect?
I think one of the things, I don't know, maybe a little bit more. We got to narrow that down. As far as, I guess, didn't expect. Well, one of the things with the guys that have helped me get here, with Dewey and Mike Reinhold from Champion, and Jason Turner, who we've mentioned before, and he was on the podcast after the bullpen session with the scouts. Jason's been incredible, and I think being able to have that support from him, being able to have the willingness and put in the time and the effort to play long toss, to work out with, to throw bullpens, to a lot of this stuff would have been scrambling on my part, trying to find a catcher or a solid brick wall somewhere to throw against. So which I have done before, and I think that having that type of help along the way is certainly a huge reason why I'm here, and was able to get a lot of this done. But as far as really the biggest surprise, I didn't really see any. I think just in the beginning part of this kind of journey of playing catch, I think surprised at how well I felt when I got to a certain point in throwing, and it was a good barometer and a good kind of marker of what was to come, and also more of a ignition to continue to keep going because of that. Because of the way the ball was coming out of my hand, really, that was the biggest thing.
Right, because you don't know, Rich, right? I mean, you can prepare and everything else, but until you get back, you don't really know, like, am I going to be able to pick up where I left off as a major league pitcher?
Right. Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that I was doing with Mike Reinhold at Champion, as far as getting my shoulder strength back and recouping a lot of that, we could go into training age and being able to get back, and the more times you work out, the faster you can get back there after a duration of time off. And obviously I've been a benefactor of having many great strength programs over the course of my career, but one of them being the shoulder program that I was able to reincorporate and get back into with Mike Reinhold, and get back to that training age rather fast. to then have those kind of the consistency of having the ball come out of my hand the way that I want to, and also those good feelings. And I think at the end of this, it's, I have no idea what's going to come out of this. But I do know at the end of it, it's, looking back again, like I said, on a later chapter in your life, it's kind of like, okay, this is something that I do feel confident about. I feel convicted behind, and I have the opportunity to do it now. So, if it works out, which I fully expect it to, great. If it doesn't, I'm not going to sit there and say, man, I wish that was that going to be, should I have done that? Coulda, shoulda, woulda, and all that stuff. I'm not going to play that game. So I think that's something that obviously for me, fortunately being healthy and also, being 44 years old and still getting after it, I think that's something that is, there's really, I guess if you want to say no excuses or whatever, there's nothing left. There's no stone unturned, however you want to say it. But that's
Rich,
that's
this
really
is it. This is the ultimate no regrets year. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
That's great. So, so to go through a little bit of a timeline here, the first week of August, I think it was, you went down to the Cape. You had been throwing you're obviously coaching your son's team, but you went down the Cape to face some Cape League hitters down in Falmouth, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. And they have TrackMan there, and they can measure everything. Knowing that there was going to still be sort of an evolution to this, were you pretty, after you did those workouts down there, were you pretty like, okay, I feel good?
Yeah, I was definitely encouraged because the spin rate was there, being able to see, vertical movement on my fastball, horizontal movement on my breaking ball, and then, everything was lining up in the sense of this is real. Like the stuff is there, the stuff is real. If you want to get nitpicky and say, okay, well, you're a little bit light on the velocity, that's always been the case. So, one of the things in contrast now being here and watching last night for the first time, I saw a live professional baseball game. We had a kaleidoscope of velocities here last night. Guys were anywhere from 86 to 89, 95 to 97, 92 to 95. So, on the whole, I feel like where my stuff will play will to be determined. But I think, from as far as going back into the beginning of August into late July, when I was throwing these bullpens that we were monitoring and being able to quantify, I could see that the numbers were relevant and real. It just continued to reinforce, like, hey, keep putting in the work, keep going after it. Everybody's always going to say, it's just natural and human to kind of, fight that other side of the coin, or, the other side of the, what if it doesn't work, or what, it's all bullshit, because it's just, the main point is to go out there and just do it and go after it and remove yourself from the outcome. And, we get ourselves in this outcome oriented brain, and it just muddies the waters and screws up everything and takes out the joy of actually being in the moment. And I think that's one thing that, for me, that I've been able to do really well throughout my career. And it's a learned behavior for me anyway, for my own personal career. It's been a learned part of it. And I think that's one thing that, certainly throughout this whole process, likes to come in and peek its head every now and then. But, training myself and my mentality and my ability to be able to stay in the moment kind of puts that stuff at bay for good. So,
Rich, as we taped this, it was your first game time with a team. You're back in the dugout, sitting in the dugout for, like you said, you hadn't seen a professional baseball game like all year, right? Other than doing the broadcast, the radio broadcast with us.
Right.
But sitting in the dugout, which, by the way, excellent job. But But sitting in the dugout, that must have been an element of that you probably missed. Oh wow, it's been a while since I did that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much. It's just kind of like, seeing somebody succeed. That's the cool part, because it's not just that so many hours, and again, I'll say it. I've said it before. Weeks, months, years, decades go into that one swing, go into that one pitch. So it's not just like you see somebody succeed and it's like, to do seventh inning stretch, everybody's eating hot dogs and whatever. It's to me, it's like you see that, like, just the, I don't want to say it's really, yes, the final result of a process oriented career for everybody, because everybody's at different points. But when I say, like, okay, whether you take the end goal of going to and you reverse engineer it, it's not about the end goal at the that strikeout or wherever. It's who you've become throughout that journey. So I think that's something that's a lot deeper. It's probably too deep, but it really is something that when you're sitting there on the dugout, you see that, and you're like, you might see somebody who's 22 hit a home run out to right field. A guy who is in their early 30s who's putting in the work, the time, and the effort to get back to the big leagues, and somebody who's on the upswing, somebody who might be, everybody's at a different stage of their career. Coaches who are in different stages of their career, the way that you can see the conversations that they have with certain players. A lot of stuff, I observe everything, so I'm very, very observational, even all the way down to the way the mannerisms of the umpire. So there's a lot of things that are going on that, of course, I missed. And a lot of it comes back just because of, the experience of seeing it over the last 25 years of being in professional baseball. So definitely, guys coming in after a home run, high fives, and seeing the excitement, the frustration of a strikeout, possibly, after a great catch is made, guys coming off the mound after maybe a tough week and striking out the last hitter, and seeing that, how just that release of maybe carrying around some baggage that isn't necessary, because they haven't got to that point yet where they're experienced enough to understand that it's about how the ball comes out of your hand and not about getting that strikeout. So it's a lot of stuff that I would say definitely last night, when I got back to the hotel, I was like, wow, that was a long day, especially after throwing a live BP and then, talking with the coaches and other guys on the team, and missing that for all the year has become something that, kind of all in one night was quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. So go back to when you had the showcase at Champion Physical Therapy and Performance Center in Waltham. The timing of this actually worked out, right? So you did the workout, you look good. The Red Sox are there. They're far and away of the people there. They were the most invested. They were the most, and whatever. So you think that they're going to have interest, but you also know that you want to go to your son's tournament in Cooperstown. So it's like, okay, I want to go to this tournament. It's almost like, don't give me an offer until the tournament's over, because the offer comes in basically the day before the tournament's over, right? From the Red Sox.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And I think, we had such a great time in Cooperstown, and, with the kids staying in the bunkers there, or the barracks. Didn't say the bunkers, but the barracks. Sometimes they felt like bunkers, but talking with guys here too that have played, and other teammates, texting with other teammates from years past that have been like, hey, that was some of the best memories I've ever had on a baseball field. Enjoy it. Being able to just be around the kids and see the kids be kids, and then see the kids, also compete on the baseball field, and facing all ranges of talent and being able to now see a little bit different kind of, okay, now you just went from being the best player in your town or, a group of the best players in your town to, all right, I got to do some work. I got some work to do because there's other really good players out there. That was a pretty cool sight to see. And it wasn't necessarily vocalized or, spoken about, but you could see it. Because the kids were saying, "Wow, this guy's good. He's got a good fastball." Or, "Wow, that guy can hit. Wow, he's fast." And it's like, what other process is going on? And you can see if that is fueling kind of that that excitement to get better for the kid, for the player. But then also the other side of it, going to the Hall of Fame and seeing them get a chance to see some pretty cool memorabilia and artifacts throughout the game of baseball, and then statistically listening to John Shasta Kosky put on a great Costa, he put on a great presentation for the boys, and just seeing their faces and asking questions about the intriguing artifacts that he brought out, and also just little pieces of history and statistics on the game that we were all kind of astonished by. So great week all together.
It's
a culmination of a little league career.
Well, it's a great week across the board. So tell me where you were. Were you in the barracks? Like when you get the word, I don't know if you get it from your agents or whatever, you get the word, all right, the Red Sox, they're calling.
I was in the barracks, and I was talking a couple of times. I talked with Brez, in the barracks, and just texting back and forth with him, texting back and forth with our agents, and then calling my agents or our agents, and then just trying to fit it in between game times, and then also a little bit of just mental scrubbing of the brain of trying to decompress from a Cooperstown tournament game that there were some that got very intense and competitive, which I love, and then coming back to the barracks and just trying to figure out where we were going to eat and how we were going to get together as a family. It was great. It was, again, something but it was, hey, Craig, I'm going to call you after our game tonight. Game gets over at 11:15 p.m. Hey, our game just got over at 11:15 p.m. I'm pretty exhausted. I'm sure you are too. So let's talk tomorrow.
So what was it?
Yeah.
No, so you don't have to, you can tell me whatever you want, but what were those conversations with Breslow like?
Well, they were great. We've had a relationship for many years now, and having that relationship obviously is extremely important to me, and I think that also, on the other hand as well. But just the honesty of a discussion and being able to understand where we were both coming from, and really what we wanted to have out of this situation as far as having the opportunity, but then also being able to have the real opportunity of helping the big league club achieve success here in September. And that's something that obviously I wouldn't be going down this journey or this road if that wasn't something that I saw in the forecast ahead of me, and something that obviously with that competitiveness that is still very much inside of me, and want to compete at the highest level.
How's it work? Like you talked to Breslow a couple times. Obviously, the Red Sox had to have been first priority because you can drive there. And right.
Well, also the other side of it too is that they're right in the heat of a wild card race as well. And for all intents and purposes, not that far out of the division. I think it's right now, I don't know what is it 7.5 games or something like that, but you never know what can happen. So I've been on teams when we've been 8-9 games up. What was that, 2011? We're 8 games up in first place in September. Now I can't say that I was on the team, but I was rehabbing from Tommy John. But I watched a 9-game, 8-game lead in 2011 go away to not even making the playoffs, right? In 2011. And that was, you're 9 games up in the division and then kind of a collapse that happens. And I think that can happen with any club at any time, at any moment, if you obviously let the moment get to you.
Well, so what you talk about expectations from both sides. We know what your expectations are. What do they say? I mean, they say they obviously
I think and I think the expectation is to fully come up and help the club achieve wins in September. That's it. And in what capacity that is I'm open to whatever that might be, bullpen, starting, opener, however that might be, fit into the puzzle. We discussed that, and that's probably part of what's going on here is just trying to figure out what role that will be in and how that's going to be achieved. And my expectation is to have the ball come out of my hand the way I want to every time. So keeping it small and simple. Yeah.
So when you threw on for the first time on Sunday in Worcester, I talked to you briefly. You said even then they made a small adjustment to your sweep. I mean, this is what I love talking baseball with you because you're always thinking along these lines. So already you're being put in the lab here, and you're like, okay,
Yeah, I look at that. We talk about the sweeper, or in my opinion, it's like a slurve without the depth. So it's a slider that comes out of your hand with zero horizontal movement on the scale, and possibly a touch of uptick in the vertical of how the ball comes out of your hand. But really, how can we achieve to get a little bit more of that flatter horizontal plane on that sweeper? And it really just has to do with a little bit of a grip adjustment. Now, that's something that I was working on yesterday as well. But I'm always, I think to stay relevant, this is something the great John Lowe told me one time. He said, if you ever want to get into television, radio, or the side of media, and I'm pretty firm that you understand this as well, and would agree that you have to stay relevant. You have to do what the kids are doing, or you have to keep up with what the kids are doing. You have to read the books that the kids are reading. You have to listen to the music the kids are reading. As much as you don't like it, as much as it is cringeworthy or whatever, you have to understand where they're coming from. Because to resonate with a younger group, or to stay with a younger group, and to stay relevant, is to keep up on these things. Now, let's flip that to a competition side of things and look at it from standpoint of pitching and how can you stay relevant. Well, for me, my curveball is always going to be there. It's always been there. It's why I was drafted. It's why I was able to stay in the major leagues for so long. And have success, but there's always something else that you can get better at. There's always something that you can improve upon. And this might be something that the sweeper that I put into the repertoire, but again, going back to this opportunity here, playing, if you don't actually jump in the water or go for it, you're never going to find out. So let's say if I didn't go down that road of trying to throw a sweeper or whatever, or to at least tinker around with it, and I would never know if it was actually something that I could put into my my game plan. And the other side of it too is having so many different roles in the major leagues and throughout baseball, as far as relieving, starting, back end of the bullpen, front end of the bullpen, long relief, whatever it might be. dropping down to the side and throwing sidearm, just doing that and saying, you know what, screw it, I'm going to do it. This is what's going to keep me in the game. And yes, a touch of that survival instinct kicks in, but that's something that I was willing to do and I was willing to try and, kind of adjust and continuously evolving, in this game of baseball. I mean, I think we're seeing, a little bit more of that base hit culture come back into the game, right? So you're seeing guys that are, okay, we're going to see Louis arise and get excited about a player like that because he creates havoc on the bases, but he creates problems for the pitcher. He can foul off every pitch you throw up there and then, scrape out a base hit or a double in the left center off the wall. Those are things that, behind the scenes, everybody's working on something. And I think if you want to survive for a long time in this game, you have to be able to make adjustments and you have to be able to continuously be getting better at your craft. And, like I said, if this sweeper is something that actually works and it's something that makes sense, hey, that's unbelievable. You just learned something that, you put another tool in the toolkit. It's great.
So when you walked into the Worcester clubhouse, do you turn your hat backwards with a skateboard slung over your shoulder and say, hello, fellow kids?
No, I got my knee-high socks on and my, polo tucked in with my fisherman's hat on. I got the full dad look going. So, no, of course, there's certain things, but I don't know. As far as the game goes and being able to talk about the mindset and the mentality and what it is to be competitive and understand how to talk to, every level of player, because everybody's at a different point in their career. As I said earlier in this podcast, everybody's at a different point. Everybody has a different association of where it is they're in on their course or their process or their timeline to get to the big leagues, whether they're in the big leagues or, so anything different. But being able, from my perspective and having I don't know, I'm not going to say that I've had every level of that there is to experience in baseball, but I've had I have a lot of relatability to many players, and whether that be a guy for his first time in AAA, a guy who's in AA, a guy you get called up, you just got sent down, you get released from another team, you get picked up to another team. You're out of options. You're coming into a free agent year in the big leagues, or you're 5 days or 10 days away from arbitration. There's a lot of certain opportunities that will pop up to have discussions with guys that are here in AAA and also in the big leagues.
So the kid that had 4 hits for your team last night was born on May 13th, 2004. Roman.
So he was, he had a home run last night. Wow, what a great swing! It's unbelievable. He had a nice double too. Great runner. Really good guy. I've only had maybe one or two conversations. I think one conversation in particular yesterday with him before the game. So I know he just got up here to AAA, I believe.
Yeah, so the catcher, you have the catcher Kyle Teal, who wasn't that much older. You have Marcelo Meyer, first round pick. He's on the injured list right now. Shortstop. But you have a really, really talented group of young players there with you, which is cool.
Very
because,
talented, yeah.
I don't, for you though, I don't I joke, oh, well, he was born in 2004 when you made your major league debut, whatever. But the fact of the matter is that you just came from doing this with 12-year-olds. So it's all baseball, right, man?
And I forget what coach I was talking to yesterday, but it's the same stuff. You're trying to keep it as simple as possible because the mind just tends to wander. You want to go some places, and it just only gets bigger and bigger as we get older, more and more into the what ifs or the the outcome oriented mind. And I saw it obviously with 12-year-olds, and you see it here with 22-year-olds, 44-year-olds. You see it with everybody. Sometimes you're able, but the thing is, you're able to the more experience you have, the more understanding you have of staying in that moment and process oriented and having the ball come out of your hand. It's no different than when you're 12, than when you're 22, than when you're 32, or whatever, as we continue to keep going on. And I think that's to your point, that's the beauty of baseball. It's timeless. I mean, we can always relate to it, whether we're, going to Fenway Park and we're in the stands enjoying a game, at any age. At some point we can see, the kind of the orchestration that happens during a game, the success, the struggle, the the grind, the appreciation for getting out of jams, the success of a home run, that when again, all that work that goes into it, it just times up perfectly, and you can see the success right there on the field, and the joy in the player's face, and also the guys in the dugout and the coaches, and then that translates over to you as a fan. That's why we buy the ticket. We buy the ticket for the emotion. So I think that's one of the things that is pretty cool about baseball.
The last thing is, so you did the live BP on Tuesday. You are pitching 2 or 3 innings on Friday. I mean, when we, after the showcase or after the workout, we sat down and you said, I really truly believe I can go 5 to 6 innings now. I totally understandable why they would just do 2 to 3, but what do you think the timeline is here? Because, it's sort of, not to say it's a rush, but we're sitting here on whatever.
Yeah. No.
Heading into the last week of August, roster expand by 2 in September. You want to be able to contribute for a pennant race, but the pennant race is, the last month of the season's coming. So what do you think is a realistic timeline for you?
Well, I mean, realistically, obviously, it would be before September 1st to be able to have an opportunity to play, and be on that postseason roster. I think I have plenty of experience of pitching in the postseason, understanding what it takes to pitch in that environment and have that, kind of making that situation as obtainable as possible, and bringing a level of, just understanding and experience into that situation. And that's something that certainly is one of the driving forces behind coming back and pitching. But again, I understand that it's a short timeline. There's nothing that I can do about that or have any kind of control over that at all. It is what it is. And, again, to the beginning part of this podcast, if that's time is one of the factors that we run out of, so be it. But again, going for it is something that is, I felt was extremely, and still feel obviously is very obtainable. So remains to be seen. I understand that the other thing is with baseball is that 162 games during a year, and it is a culmination of a marathon, not a sprint. So I think a lot of factors that come into this are, given the experience and obviously what I've done in my career and what I've been able to achieve throughout my career, especially in the postseason, has to be a factor and has to be able to be looked at as saying, okay, he's got 50, 60 plus innings, whatever it might be in the postseason of pretty damn good pitching. So I think that's another factor that, should be, like I said, put into the equation.
All right. Well, we have the baseballs and boring hats in production, ready to put on your head for your first press conference.
Oh, in production.
No, not in production. They should be ready by the end of the week.
Okay. Hey, listen, I will gladly wear a baseball is a boring hat. I'm very excited to see him. I hope I don't get to see it on somebody else's head before I get the opportunity to wear it on mine.
There's nobody. There's no as you are the. There's only two of them in existence, and they're both like they're done.